Let's explore this provocative question. Is the U.S. pressure on Iran really about nuclear security and regional stability, or is there a powerful ally shaping the agenda behind the scenes? Many analysts argue that Israel's influence on American policy plays a central role in Washington's approach to Tehran. Let's uncover how this relationship impacts global geopolitics. The U.S.-Iran relationship has long been strained, but tensions intensified in recent decades due to nuclear proliferation concerns and Iran's regional influence. The 2018 withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, marked a peak in U.S. maximum pressure policies. While the official line focuses on curbing Iran's nuclear program and destabilizing activities, some experts suggest that Israel's strategic interests have heavily shaped this policy. Israel, perceiving Iran as a direct threat, has consistently lobbied for aggressive U.S. measures, from sanctions to military postures. Washington's policy, in this view, cannot be fully understood without considering Israeli influence. Israel's leadership sees Iran as an existential threat. Tehran's support for Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and militia groups in Syria and Iraq is viewed as encircling Israel with hostile forces. From this perspective, Israel's goal is twofold: ensure Iran cannot develop nuclear weapons, weaken Iran's regional influence through economic and political pressure. U.S. policy mirrors these goals. American sanctions, which target oil exports, financial institutions, and key industries, align closely with what Israel has repeatedly requested in diplomatic channels. So how does Israel exert this influence? Through formal and informal channels. Lobbying groups in Washington advocate for tougher sanctions. High-level intelligence sharing informs U.S. policy planning, emphasizing Iran as a security threat. Strategic alignment with Congress ensures bipartisan support for sanctions and military aid packages that indirectly pressure Tehran. These tools suggest that American policy is not purely a reflection of independent strategic calculation. Israel's priorities heavily shape the decisions. Critics argue that this influence comes at a cost. U.S. pressure on Iran, driven partly by Israeli concerns, has contributed to economic hardship for ordinary Iranians, increased anti-American sentiment, and complicated diplomacy in the Middle East. Some suggest that American interests are sometimes secondary, with policy framed to match the priorities of a key ally. BBC.com. Moreover, this dynamic may escalate tensions, increasing the risk of conflict, rather than creating security for the U.S. or the region. It's important to note that U.S. officials also cite legitimate security concerns: Iran's nuclear program, missile development, and support for proxy groups. But by examining lobbying, diplomatic coordination, and strategic alignments, it becomes clear that Israel's influence is a major factor shaping how the U.S. exerts pressure. Without considering this layer, any explanation of U.S. policy is incomplete. So, is America acting alone in pressuring Iran, or is it advancing an agenda shaped by its closest ally in the Middle East? Evidence suggests that Israel's strategic concerns are a driving force behind U.S. policy, influencing sanctions, military strategy, and diplomatic posture. Understanding this perspective is essential to grasp the full picture of Middle Eastern geopolitics today. If you found this breakdown insightful, hit like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments. Do you think U.S. policy on Iran is independent, or largely shaped by Israel?